The courtroom was silent until Chrissy opened her mouth. What she said in front of the judge didn't just shake Jim Jones, it shattered him. After years of rumors, whispers, and denial, Chrissy confessed under oath that she had a secret. Affair with none other than Cameron. Yes, you heard that right, Jim's brother-in-arms, dipset partner, the man he rode into the game with. The one he called family. The betrayal was laid bare in front of lawyers' cameras, and stunned onlookers who couldn't believe what they were hearing. Jim's face, witnesses say, went pale. His hands trembled. The courtroom wasn't just a place of justice anymore. It was a stage for the biggest betrayal in hip-hop history. And just like that, Jim Jones lost it all. His pride, his trust, his foundation with Chrissy, gone in an instant. But here's where it gets even crazier. Insiders are already leaking that this confession was only the beginning, that Chrissy held back even more details. Details so explosive, they could ruin everything Jim built. Dipset fans are in shock. Social media is going up in flames. And Cameron? He hasn't said a word yet, but his silence might be louder than anything Chrissy revealed. This isn't just drama, it's destruction and the fallout. It's about to drag every name connected to Jim and Cam into the dirt. Stay tuned. Because what comes next will leave the industry gasping. They said Dipset was unbreakable. They said Chrissy and Jim had survived everything. But no one, not even Jim himself, could have predicted what would unfold when Chrissy stepped into that courtroom. This wasn't just another messy relationship fight or a reality TV meltdown. This was a legal battle turned into a confession chamber where love, betrayal, and hip-hop history collided in front of flashing cameras and stunned fans. It all began with what was supposed to be a routine hearing about money, joint assets, disputes over contracts, and whispers that Jim's empire was crumbling under the weight of lawsuits and unpaid debts. The courtroom was packed. Lawyers shuffled papers, reporters filled the benches, and fans hovered outside with their phones. Ready? Praying for drama? But nothing could have prepared them for the bombshell that would come. Chrissy sat there, calm but tense, her eyes darting between the judge and Jim. Jim leaned back, arms folded, trying to look untouchable. But insiders say he was already on edge. He'd heard rumors for years, whispers that Chrissy hadn't been as loyal as she claimed, that there were late-night calls, unexplained absences, and unresolved beef with Cameron that went way deeper than music. But Jim brushed it off. Chrissy was his ride or die. She'd always been there, until now. When the judge asked about the timeline of their relationship, Chrissy hesitated. Reporters say the pause was long enough to make Jim shift in his seat. Then she looked directly at the judge and said it clear, deliberate, like she'd been holding it back for years. I was involved with Cameron. The courtroom froze. Jim's lawyer dropped his pen. Ah! A gasp echoed from the back row. Even the judge leaned back, eyebrows raised as though the case had just turned into a tabloid headline. Jim's face went blank, but his hands clenched tight, gave away the storm raging inside him. And here's where the story explodes. Insiders claim Chrissy's decision to come clean wasn't just about honesty. It was strategy. Pressure had been building behind the scenes. Cameron and Jim had been clashing for months, trading subliminals, refusing to be seen in the same room. Industry whispers suggest that Chrissy was caught in the middle, that her ties to Cam ran deeper than anyone knew. And she was terrified that if the truth leaked through someone else, it would destroy her completely. So she took control of the narrative by detonating the bomb herself in open court. Jim couldn't process it. The man he'd built an empire with, the partner who stood shoulder to shoulder with him during Dipset's rise, had been sleeping with the woman Jim built his life with. The betrayal wasn't just personal. It was business. It was family. Was everything. Fans who were present described Jim's reaction as like watching a man collapse without falling. He didn't yell. He didn't storm out. Not yet. Instead, he sat there, breathing heavy, staring at Chrissy like she was a stranger. People close to him say that's what broke him most, not the confession itself, but the way she said it. Calm, direct, no tears, no apology. Just fact. But what came after might be even worse. Because once Chrissy opened that door, she didn't stop. Court transcripts reveal she hinted that the affair wasn't a one-time mistake. She implied it stretched over years, overlapping with key moments in Dipset's legacy. While Jim was on the road grinding to keep their name alive, Chrissy allegedly found comfort elsewhere with Cam, the same Cam who Jim defended countless times, who he clashed with but always circled back to, who was supposed to be untouchable. The industry erupted instantly. Within minutes of the confession, bloggers had blasted it online. Screenshots of courtroom leaks spread like wildfire. Social media lit up with hashtags. Hashtag Chrissy confession. Hashtag Cam and Chrissy. Hashtag Jim done dirty. Dipset fans couldn't believe it. Memes flooded timelines, some mocking Jim for being the last to know, others demanding Cam speak up. But Cam stayed silent, and that silence was deafening. Meanwhile, insiders close to the trial told us something even crazier. Jim had already suspected something was wrong, but he didn't expect it to go this far. Weeks before the court date, he reportedly confronted Chrissy about late-night texts she wouldn't explain. She brushed him off, told him he was paranoid, and accused him of being insecure. Jim, exhausted from the lawsuits and the constant drama, let it slide. He told friends he couldn't fight her anymore, that he needed peace. But peace was the one thing he would never get by the time Chrissy dropped her confession. It was too late for damage control. Jim's world unraveled in real time. His lawyer tried to shift the subject back to finances, but the confession had poisoned everything. The courtroom wasn't listening anymore. Fans outside were screaming, reporters were texting editors. And Dipset's name was trending worldwide for all the wrong reasons. And here's the twist. Sources claim Chrissy only revealed part of the truth. Insiders are whispering that there's more, that Cam wasn't the only one, that Chrissy has been sitting on secrets that could bring down Jim entirely. And while Jim sat there in silence, Chrissy's eyes told a different story. She wasn't scared. She wasn't ashamed. She was free. Free from hiding, free from pretending, free from carrying a truth that could have destroyed her if someone else spilled it first. But the one left destroyed was Jim Jones. His pride, his trust, his brotherhood. It's gone in a single sentence. And just when everyone thought the drama had peaked. One source claims Chrissy dropped a final dagger before the court adjourned. She looked at Jim, then at the judge, and said, "Ask him." Why he already knew. The room gasped again. Was Chrissy suggesting Jim had known all along? That he'd kept it buried to protect Cam? To protect Dipset? To protect his own pride? If true, this isn't just betrayal, it's cover-up. And if the receipts ever surface, Jim Jones might not just lose Chrissy, he might lose everything. The hearing adjourned, but the damage was permanent. Jim walked out with his head low, refusing to speak to reporters. Chrissy left with her lawyer, silent but stone-faced. Cam stayed silent. Buff fans knew this wasn't over, not by a long shot. Because if Chrissy's confession is only the beginning, what else is she ready to reveal? The second Chrissy's confession hit the blogs, the internet went nuclear. Screenshots of the alleged court transcript spread like wildfire. It's TMZ, Shade Room, Hollywood Unlocked, every outlet plastered the headline. Chrissy confesses to affair with Cameron. In open court, Jim Jones silent. Within minutes, Dipset fans were fighting online, dissecting every word, every pause, every look from inside that courtroom. On Instagram, hashtags trended like a funeral march for Jim's pride. Hashtag Chrissy and Cam. Hashtag Jim played. Hashtag DIPSET. Done. Twitter exploded with jokes, memes, and outrage. One viral post showed Cameron's old pink fur coat photoshopped onto Chrissy, captioned, "Guess who wore it better?" Another clip of Jim crying on Love and Hip Hop resurfaced with the caption, "He knew the whole time. It was cruel, but it was unstoppable." And while fans laughed, insiders whispered something darker. Multiple sources claimed that Chrissy's confession wasn't spontaneous at all. It was calculated. Rumor has it her lawyer had warned her that financial testimony might expose her private communications with Cam anyway, so she decided to get ahead of it. Not only that, but one insider swears Chrissy had already warned Cam days earlier that she was going to confess. So why the silence? Why hasn't Cam spoken? Insiders suggest he's playing it cool, letting the fire burn Jim without lifting a finger. But screenshots began surfacing online that hinted otherwise. A leaked text thread allegedly between Cam and a mystery contact showed him typing, "Told her not to do it in court. That ain't the place. Now they gone drag me." That leak is real. It means Cam didn't want this bomb dropped, but Chrissy did it anyway. Meanwhile, Jim Jones was unraveling in front of the world. Friends close to him told media outlets that he went ghost after court, refusing to answer calls, locking himself in his studio, blasting old beats but not recording a single word. One source said, "Jim ain't mad at Chrissy. He mad at himself. He feels like he should have seen it coming. He feels like the clown in his own circus." But things escalated when other Dipset affiliates started chiming in. Joel Santana, still rebuilding his career after prison, posted a cryptic Instagram story. "Loyalty ain't what it used to be." Fans immediately tied it to the scandal, speculating whether he was shading Chrissy, Cam, or even Jim himself. Hell Rel jumped into tweeting, "These new headlines making the old stories sound like the truth." Suddenly, everyone was asking, what old stories? Because here's where it gets nastier. Insiders say this isn't the first time whispers of Chrissy and Cam floated around. Allegedly years ago during Dipset's peak, there were rumors of late-night hotel visits and friendly studio sessions that blurred the line between loyalty and lust. Back then, the rumors got buried, dismissed as haters trying to break up the crew. But now, with Chrissy herself confessing, people are digging those old whispers back up like they were always facts. And the industry isn't staying quiet. Rapper Menno jumped on live and said, "If that's true, if Chrissy really said that in court, then Dipset history ain't what we thought it was." That's like betrayal on the deepest level. Cam and Jim supposed to be brothers. His live got clipped and reposted 1,000 times, fueling the narrative that this wasn't just messy, this was legacy destroying. Even 50 Cent, the king of trolling, couldn't resist. He posted an old photo of Cam and Jim with Chrissy in the background, writing, "Damn, family dinners must have been awkward." The post got hundreds of thousands of likes before Jim's team allegedly begged 50 to delete it. He didn't. But the most shocking part? People close to Chrissy insist she isn't done talking. They claim her confession in court was just the tip of the iceberg, and that she's ready to go public with more details if Jim pushes her too hard. One anonymous friend told a blogger, "Chrissy's tired of being painted like the loyal girlfriend who waited forever for a ring. She's about to flip the whole story on its head." People don't know the half of it. The half we do know is already tearing Jim apart. Sources say his deals are at risk. Brand sponsors are reconsidering. And networks tied to Love and Hip Hop are pressuring him for a response. They want him to either confirm, deny, or at least speak, but Jim has stayed silent. And in today's world, silence looks like guilt. Meanwhile, fans are turning on Cam too. His Instagram is flooded with comments. "Is it true? How could you do Jim like that? Chrissy ain't lying, speak up." Fans even started boycotting his music, saying they can't bump Dipset knowing there's betrayal behind the bars. But Cam, stubborn as ever, keeps posting regular content. Basketball clips, music, snippets, throwbacks, as if the world isn't dragging his name through the mud. That silence is fueling speculation that everything Chrissy said is real. Then, came the leak that changed everything. A blogger dropped an audio recording, allegedly of a heated phone call between Jim and an unknown male voice. Fans are convinced it was Cam in the clip. Jim can be heard shouting, "You had years too. Tell me. Years. And you let me stand next to you knowing this." The other voice stays calm, only saying, "You already knew." Bro, if the audio is legit, then Chrissy's parting words in court, "Ask him why he already knew," suddenly make horrifying sense. Did Jim always know, deep down? Did he suspect but choose to bury it to protect Dipset's image? If that's the case, then the betrayal runs deeper than just Chrissy. It means Jim was complicit in protecting Cam, even at the cost of his own dignity. But what makes this even wilder is what insiders are teasing now. Apparently, Chrissy isn't the only woman who could shake up Dipset's history. Rumors are swirling that other women might come forward claiming they too had connections with Cam while Jim was around. If multiple voices confirm Chrissy's story, the Dipset brotherhood could shatter beyond repair. And just when the internet thought the storm couldn't get bigger, one cryptic post from Chrissy herself poured gasoline on the fire. She uploaded a black and white selfie to Instagram with the caption, "The truth doesn't break you, the lies do." No hashtags, no tags, but everyone knew who it was aimed at. The comment section exploded. Thousands of replies flooded in within minutes. Fans begging for clarity, haters calling her disloyal, supporters telling her to keep speaking her truth. And through it all, Jim Jones stayed silent, while Kamran kept pretending nothing happened. But behind the scenes, sources say the silence is about to end. Jim's team is allegedly preparing a nuclear response, a press conference, a tell-all interview, maybe even a diss track aimed directly at Cam. And insiders claim if Jim does go nuclear, it won't just be about Chrissy's confession. He's ready to drag skeletons out of Dipset's closet that no one has ever heard before. The only question is, who will break first? Will Cam finally address it? Will Jim explode? Or will Chrissy double down and reveal the rest of what she's been hiding? Because if this is only the second act, the final showdown might burn the entire Dipset legacy to the ground. The silence didn't last after days of humiliation. With memes flying, audio leaks spreading, and Chrissy's cryptic posts pouring. Gasoline on the fire, Jim Jones finally snapped. It wasn't a press release. It wasn't a carefully worded statement. It was raw, unfiltered, and explosive. Jim took to Instagram Live late at night, face tight with fury, eyes bloodshot like he hadn't slept in days. For 10 minutes he said nothing, just pacing, wiping his face. The comments section blowing up with "Say it, Jim. And we need the truth." Then, without warning, he slammed a bottle down on the table and growled into the camera. "Y'all want the truth? Fine. The truth is my so-called brother broke the code." The internet froze. Viewers clipped the live within seconds. Jim's voice cracked as he continued. "I've been loyal to Cam since day one, since Harlem, since the block. I built this brand with blood, sweat, and tears. And the whole time behind my back, he's laying with my woman. And she confessed it in court, in front of the world. That ain't no rumor. That's betrayal, live and direct." The floodgates burst. Jim raged on, calling Kamran out by name for the first time. He claimed he'd looked past things before, but Chrissy's confession forced his hand. "Cam been dirty. Don't get it twisted. This ain't no one-time slip-up. This been years of sneak S. Y'all think Dipset broke up because of business? Nah, it was women. It was lies. It was disloyalty." So the room went silent except for Jim's heavy breathing. Then he dropped the line that would echo across hip-hop. "Cam ain't my brother no more. Cam's dead to me." Those words detonated like a bomb. Blogs lit up instantly. Jim disowns Cam on IG Live. Dipset officially finished. Clips circulated like wildfire, spliced with Dipset classics playing ironically in the background. Fans who once sang along to "We Fly High" were now mourning the collapse of an empire. But the biggest twist came minutes after. Jim ended his live. Chrissy went live herself. Her face calm, her tone almost cold. She addressed the chaos with a chilling line. "I told the truth. If the truth breaks you, that's not on me." She claimed she had receipts, hinting at old photos and messages that she could release. If people doubted her, then, in a move no one saw coming, she added, "And if Cam won't tell it, I will." Boom. Just like that, Chrissy wasn't just admitting. She was threatening. She was threatening. Within hours, a blog released what they claimed was one of those receipts, a grainy, years-old photo of Cam and Chrissy in a dimly lit lounge, seated a little too close, her hand brushing his leg. The photo wasn't crystal clear, but in the court of public opinion, it was damning enough. Fans declared the case closed. She wasn't lying. Jim Ben played. Dipsets finished. Meanwhile, Kamran's silence became deafening. His comment sections turned into battlefields. Some fans begged him to speak, others dragged him mercilessly. A trending comment under his latest post read, "You either guilty or a coward. Which one is it?" But just when the pressure seemed unbearable, Cam finally made a move, not with words, but with music. A snippet surfaced on his IG story. A gritty, unreleased track with bars that seemed directly aimed at Jim. Over a heavy beat, Cam spat. "Brothers turn snakes when they feelin' insecure. But your girl knocked the door. Who was she looking for? Harlem raised me. Loyalty never fazed me. But when lies get aired, the truth don't amaze me." Snippets spread instantly, hailed as a diss track in the making. Fans split in two. Some saying Cam was clearing his name, others saying he was dodging accountability by hiding behind bars instead of answering straight. But one thing was certain. The Dipset civil war was now official. The fallout spread beyond just the crew. Industry insiders started weighing in, painting a picture of a fractured brotherhood long before Chrissy's courtroom bomb. A former tour manager alleged that tension between Jim and Cam had been boiling since the early 2000s. With women always at the center, he claimed everybody knew. The entourage knew. The label knew. But they kept it quiet for the music. For the money, this was always bound to explode. Even rival rappers jumped in. 50 Cent doubled down, posting a laughing clip of himself sipping champagne. Captioned, "Told y'all, loyalty ain't what it seem in Harlem." Fat Joe commented under one of the blog posts, "Sad to see history end like this." Meanwhile, fans begged Joel Santana to pick a side, but he stayed cryptic, posting nothing but a broken heart emoji on his story. Then came the final twist. An anonymous insider leaked a claim that Chrissy's court confession wasn't spontaneous at all, it was revenge. Allegedly, she found out Jim had been cheating again behind her back with a much younger woman. And the affair with Cam had been her way of striking the deepest blow possible. If that's true, then her courtroom bomb wasn't just about the past. It was about war in the present. The narrative flipped instantly. Was Chrissy the victim turned avenger, or a master manipulator who burned down two men for payback? Fans split down the middle with hashtags like #Team Chrissy and #StandWithJim trending side by side. And as the internet exploded, a blogger claimed something even wilder. Chrissy wasn't bluffing when she said she had more. Allegedly, there are voicemails, photos, and even letters tying her and Cam together. If those drop, it won't just embarrass Jim, it could permanently torch Cam's credibility, his music, legacy, and even his brand partnerships. Jim knows it, Cam knows it, and Chrissy. She's sitting in the center of it all, holding the match over the Dipset empire like she's daring them both to make the wrong move. As of now, the story is far from over. Will Cam respond directly, clearing the air once and for all? Will Chrissy release her so-called receipts and end Dipset's legacy forever? Or will Jim double down on his rage, dropping a diss track of his own and sparking one of the most vicious rap beefs Harlem has ever seen? Because one thing is clear, what started as a courtroom confession has spiraled into the total public collapse of a hip-hop dynasty, and the world is watching, waiting, and refreshing their feeds, hungry for the next bombshell. And something tells me the biggest one hasn't even dropped yet. And there you have it, the dynasty that once ruled Harlem. With iron confidence is now cracking at the seams in full public view. Jim Jones is raging. Chrissy has detonated a bomb that can't be taken back. And Kamran's silence is starting to look like guilt. But the truth, we're only scratching the surface. Those so-called receipts Chrissy hinted at could destroy not just reputations, but entire legacies. If those tapes, voicemails, or secret photos ever see the light of day, the Dipset brand you grew up idolizing may never be remembered the same way again. The question is, who do you believe? Jim, broken but finally speaking. Chrissy.com, and cold with her finger on the trigger. Cam, hiding behind bars and rhymes while the world demands answers. Okay, one thing is certain, the next move will change everything, okay? And when it drops, you'll want to be the first to know. That's why right now, if you haven't already, hit that like button, smash subscribe, and turn on ALL notifications. Because when the next leak hits, it's going to break the internet, and you do not want to be late. Drop your thoughts. In the comments, is Chrissy playing revenge chess or exposing years of hidden betrayal? Is Jim strong enough to survive this storm, or has Chrissy ended him? And will Kamran ever face the music or keep ducking behind cryptic verses? The saga isn't over, it's just beginning.